But I can give you the version that I learned from my own therapist.
Okay, go for it.
And it's to get your daily dose, which is, we know that technology floods you with dopamine. But getting your daily dose, it's getting your daily dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and what is it?
No, not a
The exercise one. I don't want to say endorphins. Endorphins.
Okay.
Yes. So dopamine, it's like looking at something that you really love, just like doing something that you really love. If it's this podcast, you know, if you're feeling blue, get your daily dose. Do the thing that you love, like doing this podcast. Oxytocin, you know, hug the person that you love, hug your family and friends. Serotonin, pet your pet that makes you happy. You know, soft pet. And then endorphins is getting your exercise. Mine was kickboxing, and just getting those in. That is one way that, you know, you can get off your phone and be present in your reality. And all of those require you to be present in your reality.
So basically, like, getting off the technology and do those activities to get the four.
To get the dose, because what technology does is it gives you short-term gratification of dopamine, but with the daily the dose, you have to be present, and those take a while to achieve. Like, if your dopamine is you love reading books, you're not going to finish a book in like 3 minutes, like in a TikTok video. It takes a while, and you feel accomplished from that. So that one, the experience of reading a book, you know, it's the happiness of that stays with you longer than being on TikTok and kind of like bed rotting for a while, right?
Yeah. That is actually interesting, is because I never looked at it that way, but I think I've been doing that.
Right.
I was gonna say,
like, subconsciously.
Like does something like that.
Is because, so like, that dopamine hits, right? So if I watch a YouTube video that's like, oh, like, that's kind of fun or whatever, like, it gives me that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And then with the other things, like, I go for walks, so that's kind of like the endorphins.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what the other chemicals are, but like me, like, for example, making these podcasts or editing the podcast, it's like accomplishing something.
Right.
Helps my my mood level.
Yeah,
it's
your
like, oh, like I
serotonin
actually
rises.
did something today. You know, like
Yeah.
I was productive today, so like I felt accomplished. So yeah, like, that's actually like a really good. I never really broke it down that way, but then now that I think about it, it's like, that makes a lot of
Something
sense.
that you're doing.
Yeah.
Humans are achievers, and they want to be doing something. That's how humans make meaning out of their lives, and whether it's making a podcast in a day, or reading a book throughout a day, or, you know, catching up with a friend throughout the day, like, they make meaning out of the stuff that they do, and you can't really make much meaning as just kind of scrolling down, right? Like, it's very hard to capture all what is going on.
Yeah, because I do feel it when I'm just like consuming a lot. That's when my mood is kind of like
kind of
declining.
Dips a little bit.
Yeah.
I do notice that.
Yeah.
I feel that like how you explained it, I feel like that is the thing that my husband and I have realized for our son, to get him engaged in like the present moment versus the iPad. Because at the end of the day, it's our doing that, you know, he watches like YouTube or iPad and stuff. Because a lot of it, unfortunately, right, becomes a crutch. It's like, you know, we're at work and then we're home, but then we still have the studio, so we're still working. It's like, hey, like, you know, go watch that for 10 minutes, right? But we realize, because it's just happening so often, and, you know, he's 6 years old, and I'm like, use your imagination, you know, like, and
play outside.
People are looking at me like, what is imagination? Like, what? But we notice, like, if we're playing with him, or if we're in his room, or if he's playing a game, or if he's sitting next to mom or dad and like cuddling, like, he can care less about technology. Right. Like, when he goes to my mom's house, that is like the one thing I am thankful for, because they have a yard, you know. So during the summer, he will literally be out in the backyard in the pool, like in their little kiddie pool, for like 10, 12 hours. and like not a care in the world. Like everything on YouTube, he could care less for.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's because he's getting like that interaction.
There's no
like,
need to
yeah,
scroll
exactly.
if you're feeling full,
Mhm.
right?
It's like the connection. You know, like he wants the interaction. He wants the connection. He wants to feel like that happiness and the excitement. But when you're not giving it to them, then it's like, oh well, I'm gonna go watch this and. You know, watch other families have fun. That's horrible. God. Jeez.
What a crazy life that is.
I know.
Yeah. It's like our version of watching like Even Stevens.
I know, yeah, right?
That Boy Meets the Girl.
No, like it's so nuts. Like YouTube is just there's so much. There's like family stuff. There's you know adult men doing trick shots for a living.
Yeah, it's a different world for sure than
God.
us growing up at that point, you know.
Yeah.
My cousin, she's a content creator with her family on YouTube,
Uh-huh.
and she's like, "Girl, all of this is staged. All
Oh,
of it
yeah.
is staged."
That's what I'm
And I was like,
I know. I be looking. I'm like, there's no.
Well, is
way.
it like a
"This trick shotter?"
is it
I know.
is it like a is it like a
20
vlog?
hours of work?
Like
It's like one of like she does a lot of like those family games.
oh okay.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, like look who won," or like, "Oh, like veteran comes home." I'm like, "Is your husband a veteran?"
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think he's a veteran.
Oh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that kind of stage. I thought it was just
Don't
like
believe what you see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't believe it, guys.
Unless they're.
you know what's
Break it.
funny though? For me, like I noticed when it's not authentic,
Uh-huh.
I feel like I notice it, and it
Yeah.
turns me off.
But dude, the 16-year-olds notice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, my son does not notice that.
Yeah,
All
they-
he
I mean-
sees is kids having fun.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like it's yeah, some people probably like, oh, like it's
You
know
don't have that critical thinking.
Yeah.
I know.
But like for us, we're like, we know this is staged.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like the other day, he was like, "Look, Mom, Ryan's, like hitting his mom in the face with pie," and I'm like, "Okay, like we should try this." No, we should not. Oh, but she lost something 3 times, so he got to hit her 3. I'm like, what?
That's a
And she's
Yeah.
like, "Yay, pie in the face." I'm like, "That's not real life, son. I'm gonna tell you right now."